I'm Courtney Fallon, and welcome to the Game Plan on Reach TV, your insider guide to this week's key NFL action. In the Game Plan, I tap into the Bleav podcast network to bring you the most important information you need to know for this week's big games. Every season, there is 1 week that shocks the NFL, and this year, it was week 7. To discuss the fallout from a turbulent week, I'm joined by the legendary Quin from the Bleav in Lions podcast to go over the big stories that you need to know before week 8 arrives. Glover, let's play a little game that we like to call 3 and Out. Okay, so for the first down, can the Chiefs reach 7 straight wins this weekend? And are they the best team in the league? And is this a situation where experience and playoff experience is giving the Chiefs the upper hand when it comes to matchups, certain matchups?
Yes, I definitely think the Chiefs get the 7 win. They're playing the Denver Broncos. We don't expect those guys to win 2 games in a row. Are they the best team in the league, though? I think they're very well coached. They're very experienced. They got the best player in Patrick Mahomes. He obviously has a great counterpart in Travis Kelce. I don't think they're the best team. I think they're playing really well right now.
Second down, the Cleveland Browns are 4-2, but Deshaun Watson was injured again in week 7. It is PJ Walker that will be the starter this Sunday for the Browns. Can the Browns continue to keep winning with this quarterback carousel that they keep kind of floating guys in, guys out? What are your thoughts on the Browns? If they can, can they make a playoff push? I know their division is tough.
Playoff push. It's still early. Let's not say all that. But I do think the Browns can continue to win without Deshaun Watson. Look, they beat the 49ers. The Browns defense is playing really, really well. Myles Garrett has been unbelievable. Can they win? Yes. PJ Walker has done a great job. They got some great pieces around him. They continue to run the ball, do things, keep the game close with their defense. But I don't know if the Cleveland Browns can win that division. Do they make a wild card? I don't know. It's still early, but I think they can continue to win a little bit without Deshaun Watson.
I love the insight. I love it. All right, finally, third down. The Eagles are 6-1 in control of the NFC East after manhandling the Dolphins in week 7. They took control of the Dolphins. Their next 5 games are against the Commanders, the Cowboys, the Chiefs, the Bills, and the 49ers. What do you think their record will be over the next 5 games, Glover?
You know what? I think the Eagles are a really, really, really good, complete football team. I think offensively, they got weapons in the backfield. They made the trade and got DeAndre Swift. He's been phenomenal for them. Obviously, Jalen Hurts at the quarterback, and then 2 good wide receivers, Devontae Smith, A.J. Brown. I think offensively, they are a tough team. Defensively, I think they are a really good football team. Defensive linemen, linebackers, the secondary, obviously with my guy Darius Slade, Bradbury. They just traded and got Kevin Byard. They have a really good, well-rounded team. And I think they play better when the competition is there. I think they like having a little chip on their shoulder. I think the Eagles have the ability, the potential to win all of those games, but it is the NFL. I'm going to say they're going to go 4-1 out of those 5 games and really take over as probably the best team in the NFL right now.
Okay. They say any given Sunday, and that's NFL parity, all of those 2 ideologies for football all in one. Glover, I have a bonus question for you. Game is on the line. Which quarterback do you want with the ball in his hands to get a game-winning drive?
I'm going to go Jared Goff. Detroit Lions, Bleav in the Lions. Jared Goff.
Okay.
Jared Goff. Not Kirk Cousins, not Brock Purdy, Jared Goff. Let's go.
We love it. We love it. Glover, thank you so much for joining me, and I hope to talk with you again soon.
Thank you guys for having me. And yes, Bleav in the Lions. We're coming back 1 week, off week. We'll be back. Las Vegas Raiders, it's going down Monday Night Football. Let's go.
Thank you so much, Glover. Up next, I'm breaking down my 3 key games that you need to know for week 8 of the NFL. Each week, I like to focus on 3 key games that you, the viewer, need to know about. So entering week 8 of the NFL, I have circled these 3 key matchups that we need to cover. And without further ado, let's get to it. My first key game takes us out to Seattle, where the Seahawks host the Cleveland Browns. Both teams are a surprise 4-2 and now have very high hopes of making the postseason. Let's start off with the Cleveland Browns, who stunned the Niners in week 6 and outscored the Colts in a shootout in week 7. I thought the Colts were going to have that, but listen, the Browns defense, led by All-Pro Myles Garrett, lead the NFL in total defense, giving up just a measly 243 yards per game. To find out what the Browns need to do against the Seahawks, let's talk to Pro Bowler Eric Metcalf and Max Loeb from the Dawg Check podcast. Guys, what do you got for me?
Thanks, Courtney. Browns, Seahawks this coming Sunday, coming off of a crazy win against the Colts. Not the way we thought. What did you think, though, Eric? How did you feel the game went?
Well, I'm happy that they won the game, first and foremost. Of course, they made tons of plays that gave us an opportunity to win that game, and that's the reason why we won, because the defense was able to make plays, specifically Myles Garrett, when we desperately needed him.
Yeah.
Then, of course, you had P.J. Walker coming in, driving us, making a crucial throw on the sideline to get us down there to once again score.
Another guy who was making plays that I was just so happy to see was Dustin Hopkins. 44, 54, 54, 58, which is just, it's awesome.
It really is, and he was desperately needed to keep us in this game, and when we needed big kicks from him, he was able to deliver.
He delivered, had the big kicks, and you're going to need him against the Seahawks this Sunday. It's going to be a crazy game. If you guys aren't already tuned into the Dawg Check, make sure you do so. Back to you in the studio, Courtney.
Thanks, guys. So, yes, you think it may come down to a late game field goal. I will tell you this. In order to keep the Browns quarterback carousel stable, a lot has been on that Browns offensive line. They really have been the unsung hero early in this Cleveland season. When we return, we will hear from Brett Davern and Lofa Tatupo, who will break down what the Seahawks need to do against the Browns. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. And welcome back to the Game Plan on Reach TV. The Seattle Seahawks are on a 3-game winning streak and are breathing down the necks of the NFC West Division leaders, the Niners. The Seahawks' run defense has led the way, giving up just 523 yards on the ground this year. To find out what the Hawks need to do to get a win at home, let's hear from Brett Davern and Lofa Tatupo from the Take 12 podcast. Guys, can the Seattle Seahawks offense improve in the red zone this game?
Thank you very much, Courtney. Hi there, guys. It's your favorite Seahawks podcast, Take 12. I'm Brett. He's Lofa. And Lofa, Seahawks got a big matchup coming up this weekend with the Cleveland Browns, which I'm very excited about. I'm not sure if I'm more excited for the football or for the throwback uniforms that the Seahawks will finally be debuting.
Yes. They're going to be all over the field, all over the stadium. Can't wait to see it. But I'm more excited about the defensive matchup. You know, the Hawks look great. The Browns, that vaunted pass rush with Myles Garrett, he is an absolute freak of nature that can just take over a game by himself. So both teams coming to their own on defense, and I, as a former defender, that's really what I'm looking forward to seeing.
Well, and our offense kicking it back into gear also. Geno might have had a down game against the Bengals, but, you know, he bounced right back. 2 touchdowns last week to JSN and Bobo. Here comes the offense. That's it for us at the Take 12 podcast. Back to you, Courtney.
Okay, so Loaf is calling for a defensive battle, and Brett is excited about throwback uniforms. Who isn't excited about throwback uniforms? Here's my prediction. The last time that Cleveland beat Seattle, it was a 6-3 win. Yes, you heard that right, in 2011, which, of course, would make Lofa Tatupo happy with that defensive battle. But I do think that the defense in Cleveland edges out Seattle because defense wins championships. That's my logic here. I've got the Browns winning this game. My next key game has the Los Angeles Rams traveling to Dallas to battle the Cowboys. The Rams are in a win-now situation as they sit at 3-4 in the NFC West. And if they have any hope of catching the Niners, they must get a statement win this weekend in Jerry's world. To find out what the Rams can do to shock the Cowboys at home, I'm joined by Jake Ellenbogen and former Rand Cam Lynch from the Bleav in Rams podcast. Guys, break down what LA's game plan is for me.
Thanks, Courtney. The 3-4 Rams are taking on the 4-2 Cowboys in Dallas. Cam, how you feeling about this game?
Feeling good, Jake. Last week wasn't great against the Steelers, but this week I have a feeling the Rams are going to pull this one off. Got to stop Tony Pollard, Jake. He's going to want to run the ball this week. We got CeeDee Lamb coming in the house. Brandon Cooks, a former Ram, coming into the house. And so we got to make sure to tackle him. It's going to be really important for this Rams defense to pull off this win.
Absolutely, Cam. You look at the offense. I think the key to this game for the offense is to establish the run. Whether it's Darrell Henderson, whether it's Zach Evans, whether it's Royce Freeman or Myles Gaskin, you have to run the ball. And they should take a play out of the Vikings playbook and how they were able to stop the 49ers. What did it do? It opened up the top for Tutu Atwell, maybe? Well, yeah. I think that'd be a good thing. The key for the Rams, limit the pass rush, play mistake-free football, and you're going to win this game. Back to you, Courtney.
So on the defensive side, stop the run, make your tackles. On offense, get the run going. Seems easy, right? Great info, guys. I'm very much looking forward to Aaron Donald versus Micah Parsons in this matchup. That's just from my perspective. As for the Cowboys, they are coming off of their bye week, and they will be very well rested for this matchup. Carrying a 4-2 record coming into Week 8, the boys need a win to keep pace with their division rivals, the Philadelphia Eagles. And hey, P.S., those Eagles are pretty good too. To find out what Jerry's team needs against the Rams, let's chat with Jeff Kavanaugh and former Cowboy Jesse Holley from the Bleav and Cowboys podcast. Guys, what do you got for me?
Thanks, Courtney. Yeah, Jesse, you got Cowboys and Rams coming up this weekend. What are some of the things that you are looking for from the Cowboys this weekend?
I mean, for me, I hope that in the bye week that Mike McCarthy and company, Dan Quin and company, those who are cross-coaching this week, they really look for a way to do better with the pre-snap motion. Going up against the Rams are the second team in the National Football League with pre-snap motion. They like to do that a lot. So for the Cowboys, I really, really hope that they've worked on that this week, because what they want to do is get those receivers moving down the field, get you in awkward situations, get guys turning over guys in coverage so that they can have wide open guys. They have one of the best route runners in the league and one of the best receivers in the league, and they have one of the newest newcomers in the league, and that would be Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua.
Cowboys trying to get back on track. It's Cowboys and Rams coming up this Sunday at noon. Back to you, Courtney.
So it's all about being on top of that pre-snap motion with the Rams offense, and they will certainly utilize it. Listen, this is my prediction for this one. It's a huge test for the Rams. They're facing a very well-rested, very talented Cowboys team off of a bye. And if you're going to complain as a Rams fan that you're facing a well-rested team, well, 4 of the teams that they have left in the season are going to be coming off a bye. So it's not going to get any easier for them. I'm taking Dallas with this game. My final key game of Week 8 has the red-hot Cincinnati Bengals traveling west to San Francisco to take on the 49ers. The Bengals have ripped off 2 wins in a row and returned to 500. For a team that was a very trendy preseason Super Bowl pick, a big win at Levi's Stadium against the Niners could just be the spark they need for a playoff run. To find out what the Bengals need to do this weekend, we are joined by the great Solomon Wilcox from the Bleav in Bengals podcast. Solomon, what do you got for me?
Thanks, Courtney. It's Solomon Wilcox of the Bleav in Bengals podcast. And that's right, the Cincinnati Bengals, Week 8, are taking off, that's right, to Levi's Stadium as they come off the bye week to take on a very pissed-off San Francisco 49er team who are coming off a 2-game losing streak. This San Francisco 49ers offense only scored 17 points in Cleveland and again in the Monday night game against the Minnesota Vikings. Let's see if Lou Anarumo and the Bengals defense can hold them to right around 17 to 20 points. More importantly, let's see if Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, and that Cincinnati Bengals offense can get going. Remember, it's a 49ers defense that did not have 1 sack in the Monday night game against Kirk Cousins. Don't forget to join us on the Bleav in Bengals podcast. Wherever you get your podcast, that's where we will be hanging out. Courtney, let's send it back to you.
So the Bengals D must come up big for them to hold the Niners to 17 or less. This is my thought on that. The 49ers have a lot of injuries on that offense, but in a Shanahan system, it's very hard to tell who will step up big and will they do it next. So, big test, yes, I agree, for that Bengals defense. When we return, we will hear from Tracy Sandler, who will break down what the Niners need to do to get to 6-2. Stay with us. And welcome back to the Game Plan on Reach TV. Things can change quickly in the NFL. Just ask the 49ers, who went from the top of the power rankings to losing 2 straight. With the Seahawks nipping at their heels in the division, the Niners need to right the ship and get back to their winning ways. To find out what they need to do, let's talk to my good friend, Tracy Sandler from the Tracy Sandler Show. She is a Niners insider. Tracy, what can we expect from San Francisco this weekend?
Thank you, Courtney. The 5-2 San Francisco 49ers host the 3-3 Cincinnati Bengals on Sunday. The Niners are coming off 2 tough road losses, one of which was Monday night in Minneapolis, so it's a short week for them. The Bengals are coming out of their bye week, so they're probably pretty rested. Perhaps a 49ers run defense that's been a little tricky of late can get things shored up. But they're going to have to bring pressure to Burrow. The 49ers had 0 sacks on Monday night. On the offensive side of the ball, San Francisco will be without wide receiver Deebo Samuel, and it remains to be seen if left tackle Trent Williams will play. The Bengals' run defense gives up an average of 5 yards per carry. So, hello, Christian McCaffrey. The 49ers are looking at this as somewhat of a must-win game. They would much rather go into their bye week at 6-2 than 5-3. It's going to be a tough one on a short week against a good football team, but I'm giving it to San Francisco 22-19. Courtney, back to you.
It's inconceivable to me to think that the Niners could be as good as they are and lose 3 in a row. Brock Purdy, as Tracy mentioned, made some very, very bad throws last week, especially late in the game. This is a great matchup against Lou Anarumo's defense and the Bengals, but I just don't think that Brock Purdy throws 3 picks again. I'm taking the Niners in this game to get back on track, especially at home. Those are my key games for Week 8 of the NFL. Next up is everything you need to know to win your fantasy football matchup. Okay, it's time to play Pick 6 on the Game Plan, my favorite part of the show. Joining me to pick his Week 8 lineup is David Grubb from the Bleav in Saints podcast, live from Baton Rouge, Louisiana. David, welcome to the show.
Glad to be with you. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Let's get into your top 6 fantasy picks of the week. And I'm really loving this first one. For quarterback, you have Jared Goff at quarterback against the Raiders. I talked about it all show. I am a huge Jared Goff fan. I talked about how well he's been playing. He's very underrated. And this Raiders team seems to be falling apart, especially defensively. Why do you love this matchup this week?
Yeah, I think Goff coming off that really poor performance against the Baltimore Ravens last week, that wasn't who he's been this season. And under Dan Campbell, he's been efficient. They've done a great job of balancing his long throws. They have an exceptional wideout core, and their running game really sets him up in the play action. And I just think that Goff has been a great fit for them.
Another part of your lineup is running back Dameon Pierce from the Texans. I mean, the Texans, CJ Stroud has been a bright spot. Just specifically, the Texans coming off of a bye. Why do you like Dameon Pierce in the spot?
Well, the Texans running game has been almost as good as CJ Stroud has been all season long. And I really like the way the Texans spread out teams and create cutting lanes for guys like Pierce.
Your next up on your lineup is your wide receiver, and you got Joshua Palmer from the LA Chargers against the Bears. Why do you love this one?
I mean, since Mike Williams went down, Palmer has been that wide receiver 2 for the Chargers that they've been looking for. He had 133 yards last week, and I think against the Bears that continues. And the Bears, again, won't score a lot, so I think that gives him plenty of opportunities to get targets and get yards.
Let's play Mr. Obvious on this one. Obviously, we got Travis Kelce, but he is in my lineup. He is a dynasty, forever tight end. He had 146 yards on the ground yesterday. I mean, why is he the number 1 tight end in the league right now? And just feed me. Why do you like him in this spot against the Broncos?
Like you said, it's hard to ever not pick Travis Kelce, but the Broncos may be the worst team in the league at defending the tight end position. We know that this is a division rivalry, how much these two teams don't like each other, but the Broncos are falling apart. You thought that at least their pass defense would be something that they could count on. It certainly has not been, and the Chiefs are on a roll. So I think you take that offense that is finally hitting its stride in Kansas City, and Kelsey, who's been what he is, maybe the greatest tight end of all time, against their Broncos, and that's easy money.
Atlanta's defense against Tennessee. Talk about another team that's kind of falling apart at the trade deadline, whether they're going to be buyers or sellers, but you're taking advantage of this Atlanta defense against the Tennessee Titans this week. Why is that?
The one thing that's been consistent for Atlanta all season has been their defense. And then you get to go up against this Tennessee team that is offensively has no real clue what it's doing. They don't know if they're going to continue to let Derrick Henry be the guy or if they're starting to move on to Tajay Spears. And their quarterback situation, you drafted 2 quarterbacks behind Ryan Tannehill, and yet he's still starting. He's turnover prone. He's not accurate. I like Atlanta's defense to create some turnovers and maybe even score some points.
Trade Derrick Henry to the Bills. Come on. I think we all want to see that at this point of the season. Just get the sparks flying. All right. Speaking of sparks flying, your waiver wire pick, David, for this week is a guy that we all know, especially down in New Orleans. It's tight end Taysom Hill. Tight end, mind you, not quarterback. Why do we want to pick him up on the waiver wire?
Well, if you've watched the Saints at all, you know they are terrible in the red zone. And Derek Carr has been particularly bad in the red zone. The one guy on this team who constantly does his job in the red zone, Taysom Hill. He's getting a lot of targets from Derek Carr, and I think you saw the one really good red zone drive the Saints did have against the Jaguars, 4 straight runs by Taysom. So I imagine that whenever the Saints get in the red zone this week, the ball will find Taysom Hill.
All right, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. David Grubb, thank you so much for joining us on the Pick 6 part of our Game Plan show. It was a pleasure to speak with you.
Thanks for having me.
Well, that's all the time we have on the Game Plan today. Go check out the Bleav Podcast Network for more in-depth analysis on every team in the league. And don't forget, you can catch every game live on Reach TV all NFL season long. We'll see you next week.